Hi and welcome to part 4 in my series of classic licks by some of the great blues guitar players of all time, great electric blues players. My fourth lesson has to do with the playing of Magic Sam. Magic Sam is one of the more accessible electric blues guitar players. His playing is not tremendously complicated, but it's very soulful and has a magnificent touch with the guitar and a great tone from his Stratocaster. And I'm going to play you just some of my favorite Magic Sam licks, and like the other videos in this series, I want to show you licks that you can apply to other tunes, to your own stuff, things that you can use somewhere else other than just in the context of covering these particular songs that I pull these from. I'm going to start out with the song that most people associate with Magic Sam, which is Sweet Home Chicago. It's been done over and over and over again by different groups and different styles, but I still prefer Magic Sam's version for electric versions. I like Robert Johnson's original too. I'm going to show you a couple of the signature licks, including one lick you can play over the 4 and the 5 chord, which is really cool. You can play it as a solo or as a turnaround. So let's get started. The signature lick of Sweet Home Chicago is this fill that Sam throws in between the vocals. It's in the key of E. It's played like this. He's playing, or the rhythm is going behind him. And that's a pretty basic lick, and we've already done something like this with our Jimmy Rogers lesson, Eddie Taylor. It's in the key of E, so here's my first position E chord with the bar on the 12th fret. So I'm just putting my first finger on the 10th fret of the first string, my ring finger on the 12th fret of the second string. And then I'm sliding. Turn down the reverb there so I don't drive anybody away. Get a little bit more reverb. So, then the next lick, first finger on the 9th fret of the first string, second finger on the 10th fret of the second string, and just move that down too. And then he sometimes does a variation of that where he's playing before he goes into the 4 chord. And what I'm doing, this is something you typically hear up here in the A. Playing of Eddie Taylor, we went through some of that, but he's just doing a similar lick down here in E, so it's that same double stop. 10th fret of the first string, he's hammering on the 12th fret of the first string to the 12th fret of the second string, sliding up to the 10th fret of the second string, to the 8th fret of the second string, and then he's ending up on the 9th fret of the 3rd string. So the whole variation where he plays this lick later in the song is and he goes into the 4 chord like that. So that's a lick. You could play this. You could mix that up a lot of different ways in a medium tempo shuffle. Now when he gets to the 4 chord, this is the second lick from Sweet Home Chicago that I want to show you. He plays over the bar chord shape, which is A. And that's over the A. That is a cool lick. You hear that Magic Sam plays it. You also hear Robert Lockwood use that a lot, and some other guys. So basically we're going from the 1 chord. And when we go to the 4, over that A we're playing. What I'm doing, here's my first position A bar chord, 7th fret, 5th fret. I'm picking the first string on the 7th fret, 5th fret, then I'm bending at the 7th fret of the 2nd string. Bringing it down, and then the 5th fret of the 2nd string, and then the 6th fret of the 3rd string. And he goes back to the 1. And that is a cool lick. Anytime you go to the 4 chord, you can do this as a fill. You can do it as a solo. And you can even play it on the 5 too, like this. Whoops. Something like that. One more time. Which is neat. That is a classic electric guitar blues lick. First time I ever heard it was listening to Magic Sam's Sweet Home Chicago. There's one more cool lick that he does in the context of that song before we move on to something else. He does, in his opening solo, he plays something like this. And that is another neat lick, pretty simple, that you can play as an introduction to a solo, as a fill, whatever you want to do with it. It's an E7th, and when I first tried to play this, I would play it up here. I can't tell where he's playing it. He might be playing it further down on the neck, because when he goes to the next line in the solo, he's playing up here. But this is just a 7th chord. I've seen this before. Got my first finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. Got my ring finger on the 4th fret of the 1st string. First finger is on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. And my 2nd finger is on the 4th fret of the 3rd string. That's an E7th. So if you play an E7th like this, that's an E7th. So you could play it up here. But what I'm doing is choking off the strings by adjusting the pressure with my left hand. I'm using all downstrokes with the right hand. Now the other place you could play that same lick is down here. And what I'm doing is putting my first finger on the 7th fret of the 3rd string, my ring finger on the 9th fret of the 2nd string, and my 2nd finger on the 9th fret of the 4th string. Get a little meteor sound down here. I don't know if he's playing it here or here. But either way, you can play that same lick. And you go to the 4, play something like that, or whatever. So those are some various Magic Sam licks and runs from Sweet Home Chicago. Now another type of groove that Magic Sam used a lot was like a slower blues tune. Songs like Easy Baby, All Your Love, and others use this kind of groove, and it's a really easy, for the most part, simple groove to get down. He mixes it up a lot and plays it in different ways, but I'll show you just the basics. And if you're just starting playing this kind of music, this is a fun one to play. I'm going to play the song in the key of B, which is an unusual key, but this is where if you're going to play along with the recordings, a lot of Sam's tunes are done. And the lick, let me play it through for you one time so you can see what we're going to learn. So that is the lick over the 1 chord. And what I'm doing, this is my B chord. I'm going from the 9th fret to the 9th fret of the 5th string to the 7th fret of the 4th string, and then trilling on the 9th fret of the 4th string. So I hit the string once, and then in between, just going from the 9th fret to the 7th fret, barring the first 3 strings. And you'll notice when I come back to the bass run, I'm dragging or raking my pick across the strings while letting up on the pressure with my right hand. That little scraping sound, you hear that in a lot of Magic Sam's tunes. He does that for great effect. It's really cool the way he does that. Tried to learn that and imitate it, but it's neat. It's a matter of touch. Freddie King did something similar. So one more time, that whole lick. And then, if he's opening up the song, he'll go to the 5 chord with a bend. So like something like this. And the bend in the key of B is on the 3rd string, going from the 4th fret, or the 4th string on the 9th fret. So it's up from the 4th string, 9th fret, to the 3rd string, 7th fret, and then bending. Got all 3 fingers, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd finger bending the 3rd string at the 7th, 8th, and 9th frets. And then I come into this chord, which is a 7th chord. I call it a Magic Sam chord. That is a 7th, an E7. You could play it like this. Whoops. So actually that is not an E7, that is a, what is that, a F sharp 7th? F sharp 7th? F sharp 7th. Then you go to an E7. So this shape, let me show you this shape of chord. This is something Magic Sam uses a lot too. What I do is use my thumb and wrap it around and get the 1st, 6th, and 5th strings at the 9th fret. And then I'm putting my 1st finger on the 2nd string at the 7th fret. Thinking too much. I've got my pinky. Pinky is on the 9th fret of the 1st string. And then I've got my 1st finger or 2nd finger on the 8th fret of the 4th string. And then I've got my ring finger on the 9th fret of the 3rd string. Oops. 1st finger is on the 7th fret of the 2nd string. My bass note, get with my thumb on the 5th string. Now if you watch the videos of Magic Sam playing live on YouTube, he played with his fingers. So when you see him playing these chords, he's kind of strumming with his fingers. I don't know if he's keeping a bass with his thumb. I haven't watched it enough to tell you, but that's the chord he's playing. So let me put it all together with that first lick. Sings over the top of that. When he sings over it, he'll throw these licks in. If you listen to some of his stuff, you can get the gist of what he's playing. Just some of these licks. Just playing a blues box there. If this is in B, going from the 10th fret on the first string to the 7th fret. Same thing on the 2nd string. And then a little bend on the 3rd string. And I go into my 4 chord. And then while he's playing that, let's move it down 1 fret. And back in. Stuff like that. So that is what I call his slow, easy baby type tune. I'm going to show you a couple solo ideas that you can play using the minor chords. This is something that Sam did a lot as well, and it's a pretty easy idea. And a lot of the West Side guitar players playing with a trio or a small group without a horn section, they would use the guitar. You know, they had to fill up that space, and they used a lot of chords. Sam and Otis Rush, even Buddy Guy sometimes would do this quite a bit. Let me show you first a real simple version of this solo idea, and then I'll show you a more complicated one. So let's say we're in the same tune. Here's what I'm doing. It's a minor chord. I'm just using a triad or a 3-fingered minor chord, and I'm coming down here. Since I'm playing in B, I'd have to do this at the 14th fret. Got my first finger on the 12th, 14th fret of the first string, second finger on the 15th fret of the second string, and my ring finger on the 16th fret of the third string. He does a little fill here. Not sure. I listen to that a lot, and I sometimes can't hear exactly what he's doing. It sounds like just a 2-note thing on the 14th fret of the 3rd string to the 16th fret of the 4th string. And then he comes back up. That's just an E minor. First finger this time on the 7th fret of the 1st string, second finger on the 8th fret of the 2nd string, ring finger on the 9th fret of the 3rd string. And I'm just using that same bend. Hear Magic Sam use that bend all the time. So that's a real simple solo idea that you could use playing. Now let me show you another more complicated version of the same idea. This comes from a song called I Found a New Love, which is one of the coolest electric blues songs ever recorded. And in this tune he's playing, I think he's playing in G or A, but I'm going to keep it in B so you can use the same idea. So what we're going to do is start it out with the same minor lick. So like this. And then we're going to go back into that. And then you can go back into your solo. Thing. So here's what we're doing. It's in that same lick. And then we're doing this descending thing. It's just double stops played out of that B blues box. So So it's kind of almost like a triple stop. I've got my first finger barring off the 7th fret, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd strings. And then I'm walking with my pinky and my ring finger from the 10th to the 9th fret. Then the same pattern on the next set of strings. So just like that. So the whole thing. And then I'm going with these double stops from I've got my finger on the 2nd and 3rd strings on the 7th to the 9th fret. Back to the 7th fret. Then I'm moving over a string. So my ring finger is on the 9th fret of the 3rd and 4th string, and then up to the 7th fret on the 3rd and 4th string. So the whole thing. Then I'm playing a minor chord. This is B minor. I've got my first finger on the barring the bottom top 3 strings at the 7th fret. And I've got my ring finger with the bass, the B note at the 9th fret of the 4th string. So if you want to inject a minor chord in there, you could do it. Let me play the whole thing through. You can throw some fills in there. Up, or you could go back into your verse. Now you don't have to use that lick in that pattern, but you could if you tried. Whew. There's a lot of stuff there, and that is just a tip of the iceberg. I suggest you listen to Magic Sam stuff, his live recordings, and his 2 fantastic Delmark LPs, West Side Soul and what's the other one? Black Magic. Those are the 2 classics. And you'll hear Sam use these licks and a lot more in many of his songs. Before we go here for the Magic Sam lesson, I am going to do another shameless plug for my CD. If you enjoy the free lessons that I provide here on YouTube, just out of the goodness of my heart and my enjoyment of this kind of music, you might like the CD by the Moore Brothers. It's my older brother Tom, myself, and a host of other musicians that helped us out with this. We play 15 songs. 9 of them are originals, 6 are covers of both country blues and electric blues tunes. I play a lot of different guitar on this. If you like the stuff I've been teaching you, you can hear some more examples and some more songs, and I think you'd really enjoy this. It's $12 for the CD. You can buy that through CD Baby or on our group's Facebook page. It's the Moore Brothers on Facebook, or you can buy it as a digital download, Amazon, iTunes, all those places have it for $9.99, or any of the individual songs. No pressure on you, but if you enjoy my free lessons, I would appreciate the support. And I think you'd like the CD as well. I'll be back with another classic blues guitar lesson. Next time we'll be doing lesson number 5, which will be some of the licks from the great Pee Wee Crate.